Breaking tonight, the Justice Department is reviewing the discovery of roughly 10 classified documents just found in the Washington office space of President Joe Biden's former institute. Attorney General Merrick Garland has appointed the U.S. Attorney in Chicago, a Trump appointee, to review the possible legal implications. In a statement, Richard Sauber, special counsel to the president, says, quote, "The White House is cooperating with the National Archives and the Department of Justice regarding the discovery of what appears to be Obama-Biden administration records, including a small number of documents with classified markings. The documents were discovered when the president's personal attorneys were packing files housed in a locked closet to prepare to vacate office space at the Penn Biden Center in Washington, D.C. The White House says Biden's own attorneys discovered the documents on November the 2nd and handed them over to the National Archives the next day. They also indicate he hasn't used that office since the start of his 2020 campaign for president. Now, to be clear, it's a good thing that it's being investigated, as far as I'm concerned, and I give Garland credit for putting a Trump appointee in charge. It's also true that this is very different than what happened with Donald Trump and the classified documents stored at Mar-a-Lago. Specifically, the most important legal issue that Trump is facing is not for keeping the classified documents in his possession, but rather for ignoring multiple requests and a subpoena from the Justice Department to hand them over. Most importantly, we don't know exactly what is in any of the documents. We've got an idea with regard to the Trump documents. But in this case, Biden's team handed them over without anyone asking for them. But you probably won't know any of this nuance watching the other cable news channels. The far left, no doubt, will downplay this discovery. MSNBC will likely ignore it altogether. The far right will use this to try to cast doubt on the very real legal issues surrounding the Mar-a-Lago case. On this show, we focus on the facts and analysis from those facts. So let's bring in Jamil Jaffer, who served as associate counsel to President George W. Bush, where he worked on defense, State Department, and intelligence community matters. He's also former senior counsel to the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Jamil, thanks for coming back on the show. Appreciate it. Your first reaction to this news of this discovery of these classified documents?
Well, Dan, I think you had it exactly right, which is there is a surface similarity here, and it is troubling, obviously, that these documents were found in early November. We're only just now hearing about them 2 months later. That being said, there's a significant difference that you rightly pointed out between these documents and the Mar-a-Lago documents. President Trump was asked for those documents multiple times. At first, some were turned over. Then it required a subpoena. Then ultimately a search warrant that turned up over 100 classified documents. Nonetheless, President Biden was very critical in August of last year of President Trump and his alleged mishandling at the time of these classified documents. And now, apparently, there were some mishandled documents apparently in his possession as well. That obviously will not inure to his benefit.
How uncommon or how common is it for a president or anyone else to combine classified documents with non-classified documents and to make mistakes when it comes to this stuff?
Well, look, I think mistakes do happen with some regularity in the government. Times you'll have unclassified and classified documents on your desk. You might stick a paper in between, mistakenly carry it out. As soon as you discover that, you report it to a security officer. They investigate it. They make sure the documents are returned and retained properly. There was no inappropriate disclosure. So mistakes do happen, but they go in a permanent security file. And if they happen regularly or if they happen in an egregious way, people are disciplined and can lose their security clearances as a result of even a mistake.
Could President Joe Biden lose his security clearance?
Well, I think that's highly unlikely because, of course, all security clearances derive ultimately from the president's authority. So it seems unlikely that you'd be able to restrict a president from having access to classified information. But, of course, if he's mishandling it, that's a problem. Right now, we just don't know enough about how these documents ended up where they did, what was in these documents or the like. But at a minimum, what you can say is there's certainly going to be a lot of discussion on Capitol Hill about these documents and what they mean for the current president and the former president and the investigation of both.
Let me let you listen to. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.